pastor had called me on the back of what he said, that God had spoken to him and shown him that Paul and I had to be together. And I remember feeling, he called me in his office one evening to talk to me about this, and said that, you know, that God had really put on his heart quite strong that I needed to be with my husband and that we needed to be together. I was really, really upset because I'd told my minister everything about our relationship and how bad it was from before we even came to the church, and you know, he understood all of that, but he still said that, you know, he really felt that quite strongly that God was saying that we needed to be together. And I remember that night I left his office and I was so upset, I was so distraught. You know, I said to him that as a man of God I really respected him, but if God wanted me to be with Paul after everything that I've gone through, he would have to talk to me himself. And I remember leaving his office in floods of tears and driving home. So that night I went to bed. I remember praying, and I went to bed, and I was crying that whole evening. And once I settled in my bed, so I wasn't even asleep, a voice...
Sorry, your perfume smells nice, by the way.
Thank you.
Sorry. I could just smell it going up my
Sat
nose.
next to me.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Thank you. Throw me off now.
Sorry, Pastor, sorry.
That night I went to bed and a voice came from nowhere, and I mean it was an audible voice. I could hear the voice just as I'm speaking, and said to me, "You've asked for me to come, and so I'm here." I was petrified. I was in my bed. I was literally shaking. This experience has never happened to me before or since. I knew instantly that it was God. I knew instantly, and basically what he said is that he'd called me and Paul for a time such as this, and that it wasn't about me, and that it wasn't about him, as in it wasn't about Paul, but it was about him and his glory. It was about God and his glory. And that was something that just kept being repeated over and over. This is not about you, this is not about Paul, this is about me and my glory. I was literally cowering in my bed. I was so scared, honestly, I really was. And then I was somehow taken off into like a dream, and at that time we had a cat, and his name was Gin Jake, and I was taken off into a dream
That's
where...
another story.
Yeah, that's another story. But I was taken off into a dream where the cat was on the top of the fridge in the kitchen, like he was listening into the fridge. So I opened the fridge door, and the part where your vegetables are, underneath the vegetables were like rats. I mean, loads of them just scurrying around in the trays. And I remember slamming the fridge door shut, and it's like a book slammed shut and said, "But it's down to you." And then I saw like a rat come out of my bed. This obviously didn't happen in the natural, but I guess it was like a vision, a dream. I saw like a rat then scurry out of my bed, and God said, "It's down to you." And he told me a lot of other things concerning our marriage, that, you know, he'd called us separately, but he wanted us to be together, and that he was going to bring us before great men, and he was going to use us mightily. And at the end of everything, and he said to me, because something that I'd always wanted a boy, a little boy, and at the end of everything he said, "And you will have a son, and you will call his name Nehemiah." And that was it. And that was it. And I was just like, I sat up in my bed, and I was just so scared. I instantly went for my phone. I didn't even check the time. It was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I called my minister. And I said to him, God's spoken. And he said, okay. He said to me, "Make sure that you come and see me tomorrow." And it wasn't until I looked at the time, I thought, oh my goodness, I rang my minister at 2 a.m. in the morning. But, you know, and he was so good to have taken my call, but I just didn't know what else to do. I mean, I'd never experienced anything like it. And so I went the following day to go and see the minister, and I explained everything to him. And he was just like, wow. He said, "You know, I left it with the Lord because I believed that God would show it to you, because I as I said to him, that God would have to show me himself. And seriously, he spoke like it was just unbelievable. And so the pastor said to me, are you ready then to have your husband back? And I said, no. And he said, what do you mean? Like, you've had that vision and everything that I've said to you. I said, yes, I know, but I've asked for further confirmation. And I remember the pastor saying to me, you know, the Bible does say, tempt not the Lord thy God, you've been given it. And I said, yeah, I completely understand that. However, I feel that if God really did speak to me, here's the bit of doubt now, if God really did speak to me, he's going to confirm it again. And the pastor said, okay. And he said, so what is it that you've asked for? And I said to him, you know what, I can't say, because it is literally between me and God. And by this point, I'd felt that I'd got such a relationship with God that I knew that he would speak to me. Just as he'd spoken to me already, I knew that he would do it again. So I left the office, I left the pastor's office and went. So the thing that I asked for actually was a butterfly. That was the thing. And so if you followed me for a little while on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever social platforms, you'll see that every now and again I'll use butterflies in things, because butterflies, although obviously I don't worship the butterfly, but butterflies are very symbolic in our relationship. Anyway, so after I left the office, this would have been in around January time. So for the whole of January, February, I was literally walking to work every morning, looking over cars, under bushes, through bushes, over hedges, to see if I could see a butterfly. And I remember it was in the month of February. One morning I was walking to work, and
I remember we were meeting on the other occasion when we took
yeah, we were.
I was chasing you at that time.
Yeah, we were.
Just meeting.
But my heart was beginning to soften because of what God had said to me. And I hadn't even shared it with Paul yet, because I thought, you know what, I still need to be like 100%, because I knew that if God was seriously speaking to me, like everything, I was going to forgive, and I was just going to give it completely to God. Everything, I was going to give it to him, and just move forward as if nothing. And so so I was walking to work, and it was in the month of February. My mum had called me one morning, as she did, just to ask me how I was managing with the children and work and everything like that. And as she was talking to me, 2 white butterflies just came and started dancing up and down in front of me. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I started screaming. My mum was like, what is wrong with you? What's happened? What's happened? She was scared, wondering what's going on with me. And I tried to explain to her through all the excitement that, Mum, God's spoken. I've seen it. I've seen that, I've seen the promise. And I see that he's given me a promise. It's in the form of these butterflies, that it's been confirmed. And so with that, I then contacted my minister, told him then everything, and straight away said, I'm ready. And he was like, are you sure? I said, I know that I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. At this point now, remember, I'd been building my relationship quite strongly with God since the refuge all the way through. And I knew that God wasn't going to fail me. I knew that he wasn't going to let me down. And in the natural, I knew that a lot of friends would look at me and think, Maria, are you okay? Like, think about what he's done. Like, seriously, are you going to do this? So I didn't disclose really any of the details, as I have done now for the first time, really, for everyone to really hear what actually went on when I disappeared. And from that day, from that day when I handed everything over to God, I don't know what happened. Like, he just completely transformed this guy. I couldn't do it. I tried to do it. I tried to do it in my own strength. I tried to manipulate situations. I tried to force God's hand. I tried to make things happen prematurely. But that's not how God works. Like, you have to completely surrender everything to him in order for him to do what he needs to do. And for me, that was a huge learning curve, and that has been like the boulder of, that's kind of been like the starting point of our relationship, that whole scenario there. I will say that we also went for counselling. We did go for marriage counselling together, and
I was a bit reluctant at first.
Yeah, and it was recommended to us, but it was a good thing because it allowed us to begin to talk and to communicate with each other. And that was something that we really got out of that, because we never did.
I think the difficulty that I found with counselling at first was that I've always kept all my emotions to myself. I've never really opened up. I've opened up to you, obviously, about my past and stuff, and I just felt they were going to open things up and put me in a worse place, because I just felt if you open up, it's just going to start bringing up a lot of things that's made you angry and bitter. So that was difficult for me to look about counselling, because my impression of counselling was once you start talking, that's it. It doesn't actually help you. It just makes you revisit bad situations and make you more bitter about those bad situations.
The situations have to come to the surface.
Yeah.
And as painful as it is, that is what happened, and we had to deal with them. And then Paul also went for separate counselling, didn't you? Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't it. In my heart, it was an instant thing for me. The point that I got to, I arrived there quite quickly. Once I'd had all that confirmation and the vision from God, I knew that I was 100% just going to be a vessel for Him to use. I also read a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, which is an amazing book. And basically it talks about different love languages. So for example, Paul, his love language could be words of affirmation, which it is. So it's basically, you know, for me to big him up and just to kind of make him feel special, make him feel wanted.
Don't criticise me when I put up a wonky shelf.
Okay, yeah, that sort of thing. Mine is, I guess, what is mine? Quality time. Our languages were communication. And is, I guess, what is mine? I can't remember what mine. My
diamonds, no flowers.
No,
you like
my love language is communication. And what did I just say?
Acts of.
No.
Affirmation.
No, yours is words of affirmation. Quality time, that's it.
Okay.
So if you are not speaking the same language, then you're always just going to be like this. You're never going to be able to meet each other's needs, and your love tank will forever be empty. So I had to learn that, and in order for me to learn that, I had to give him what he needed, and in turn then he would give me what I need, and that's how it works. And it's a practice, because I wasn't used to saying, oh babe, oh love, or you know, you look really nice, or that suits you, or you know, just giving him words that would make him feel good about himself. And it was something that I kind of had to practice, and I still do practice. That's another thing. In marriage, you never hang up your boots and say, oh, I've arrived now. No, it's something that you have to continuously work on. And especially when you've got children as well, because that time that you have, you know, it's got to be split between the children. You haven't got that time, but you've still got to know that your relationship is still moving on in a good way, in a, you know, at a steady pace, while you've still got to be making sure that you're running other things. You're running the house, you're dealing with the children, you've got school homework, but you two need to be secure in each other, and that only happens through maturity, and also being able to communicate and being able to be in a place that you can accept, I guess, and work on each other's love languages.
And be able to. I mean, we're not perfect.
No, we're not.
But I think one of the things we worked on is forgiving each other pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That helps. Because I think the thing with unforgiveness, when your partner feels left out in the cold, that's how it starts to feel. It starts feeling cold and lonely for you, and that's when you start having kind of doubts in your head, start thinking about other things, start feeling negative, and the longer it goes on, it doesn't help the situation at all. I think forgiveness and moving things on pretty quick. Because if I have a disagreement with Maria, I'm very much like, I want it resolved. I may not like talking about things. I hate talking about things, and I don't like going into deep discussions. But I'm almost like, can we just move on? Can we just leave
that's
it?
A typical man thing.
Yeah, can we just forget about it and just
women
move
like
on?
The details.
Yeah, see, I'm not a detail person. I'm just like, come on, let's just forget about it, leave it. Let's just carry on. And sometimes it can be difficult because I normally want to talk about things and go into depth about things and go into details about things, where I'm not that kind of person. Because I'm like, okay, it's done now. Let's just get on to the next stage. So, you know, don't leave your partner feeling cold outside for too long, because it could have I don't know what that was. It could have a negative impact on the person that you're with.
So anyway, fast forward. So we had our child that we had together. She was 11, and then we decided to have another baby, because of obviously everything that God had said, the promise about having a son and all of that. So I fell pregnant, and I was completely convinced that this is Nehemiah, like, he's coming, he's here. So much that I took my girls out of school to go and see the scan and everything, and obviously it wasn't a boy, it was a girl. I then started to doubt what God had said, you know, and yeah, obviously I had my daughter Nakaya, and I remember taking her to nursery one day. It was a Christian nursery, and obviously when you've had a baby, you develop such a close bond with that child. And I remember I used to feel really guilty about having to drop her off at nursery, because of the way that I'd felt during the pregnancy with God about, you know, I was expecting her to have been a boy. And one day the nursery manager called me inside. It was a Christian nursery, and she said to me, "What is it? What? I see you every day. You're crying. What is it?" And I said to her, "You know, the baby that you look after, the little girl, I so expected her to have been a boy. However, now that she's here, I love her so much, and I just feel so guilty that every day I have to take her to nursery and I'm away from her. You know, I haven't got any family in this town, and I just find it really difficult." And you know, I told her all about Nehemiah and the name that God had given to me and everything, and she said to me, "Oh, it's become really cold in the room." She says, "I've got goosebumps." And she said, "I don't know, there's something about the name Nehemiah." She said, "Your husband works with people with special needs." I said, "Yes." And she said, "I see something around special needs. I don't know what it is." Bearing in mind, Nakaya was only 5 months old at this time. And so I kind of left there thinking, okay. And actually it didn't all come back to me until Nehemiah was born. So I'd had so many tests. If you look at my videos that I've got on YouTube, they're called The Birth. So there's The Birth Part 1 and Part 2, where I go into detail about Nehemiah and basically the prophecy that came as a result of his diagnosis, and well, he had an infection at the beginning where he was quite poorly, and basically the way in which somebody that we don't know was used to tell us that Nehemiah has got a call on his life, and he's been given to us for a reason. But even up to his name, we weren't going to give him that name Nehemiah, because we've got a granddaughter that's got a name that's very close, and obviously we've got Nakaya, and it just didn't feel right to give him that name so many years after that prophecy from God, when God had told me that I was going to have a son. But you know, I knew instantly that this was the boy that God had given to me, and that I had to call him Nehemiah. And you know, that's why I show him so much on social media, because I really do believe that he's a little boy that will give people hope, you know. And even this video, the reason why we're doing this video, we don't want any glory or anything for it, but we believe that this is why all of this was given to us. The whole, you know, the the prophecy, the words that have been spoken over our lives, we're not to sit with it and keep it quiet and kind of shove it under the cover then. It's something that we feel that we need to talk about so that we can give people...
Yeah, but we've missed out a lot though, haven't we? We haven't gone into a lot of details.
Even though these videos, it's going to be quite long.
Yeah, but if we was to share everything, we would have to have like a series.
I think so. Yeah.
And I'm just going back to what Marie said about my son Nehemiah. I think it was really important for me because obviously I was brought up not knowing my own father, and I always said to my girls, when you get married, please keep my name, please keep Moody, because it's such, and they said, no, don't keep Moody. And having a boy now to continue my names means so much to me, and I love my boy to bits. I love my daughters, but just that word calling him son, I don't know. I always, how I act with my son is how I would have wanted my dad to be towards me. There's nothing I can say about my boy. He's just like, he's my world, including my daughters, and I've got to be really careful. But having a son, it's almost like is a transformation from me, as in the sense that my name, not that my name's really important, but I don't know, it's my generation kind of thing. So it's my boy going to continue on my name. I don't know my father, as I said, but my son knows me and he can continue my name.
That really kind of concludes our testimony. It wasn't easy for us to sit here and talk about it,
because we've cleaned it up a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah, well,
because there's a lot.
There is a lot,
yeah, but we're not going to go into a lot of stuff. Yeah,
there is a lot, but we've just tried to condense it as much as we can so that we can get it into a video that people will want to sit down and watch. We hope that you enjoyed this video. We hope that it will serve as an encouragement for other married couples that maybe feel that that they can't go on, or it's too hard, or and we know that all marriages are not the same. We understand that, but marriage takes work, and we can tell you it's not easy, but it's possible, and it's definitely possible with God. So yeah, that's kind of it really. We're not perfect, we're just the same as anyone else. We do have issues from time to time, but nothing ever like the way that it was. God has brought us such a long way.
We've got issues, but we've got tissues.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we love each other, and God has been so good to us and just really worked to revolutionise our relationship.
Any men out there who have past bad life experiences, whether that's to do with abandonment, not knowing your parents, being disengaged from society. I know there's a lot of stuff out there at the moment with a lot of young men who've just kind of lost it, basically. That's why it's totally irrelevant, but I just feel I have to say this. God's kind of telling me to say this with all these knife crimes and everything that's going on at the moment. And I hear different stories because young men are lost, they've got no direction, they've had difficult upbringings. If I was sitting and telling you about my upbringing, I could be easily one of those guys on the streets now, just going around stabbing people because of anger and hate and dislike. But thank God I'm not in that situation now. There is a way out. There is a hope. It's just knowing who to talk to and where to go to for help. Don't let your past dictate your future, because if you do that, that means whatever's happened in your life, whether it's been sexual abuse, emotional abuse, abandonment, any difficulties that you go to, that event has won the rest of your life basically. And I made a conscious decision, especially when I had my children, that I need to turn my life around, because I have to make a difference with my children's future. And having a child and loving your child, if you love your child as a man, that's something you're prepared to do. You give up everything to make sure that your children don't have a repeat of history that you had. And there is a way hope and a way out, sorry, and there is hope. And as I said, just don't give up on life. Just look about, life is precious. Just look at a different direction and take a different. I don't know why it wasn't part of the video, but I just felt that I needed to say that, because I said I could sit here and tell you some stories about myself, and Marie's been there when people have told the stories about me, and she's been in shock. I can't believe that's my husband. But you have to make a conscious effort to turn and change directions in your life. You can't continue doing the same thing over and over again without any results. You have to change something, you have to do something differently. So yeah, I just thought I needed to say that. And men, don't give up on your marriages. Fight for whatever you feel you need to fight for, and don't give up on your life. It's so easy to take tablets or to cut yourself or harm yourself. I used to be a self-harmer. I used to take tablets. I used to do many things to end my life. There is a way out. Sometimes the easy option is always the best option. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably sound a bit deep, but I'm sorry. I just felt I need to say that.
Absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching our video, and please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. If you know of couples that might benefit from the video, then feel free to share it, and we're happy to answer any comments, any queries, offer any advice that we may have, and yeah, I don't know what more to say really. I hope that you enjoyed it, and take care, and we'll see you again. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye bye.